Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is getting recorded at 3:29 p.m. That's the start of it, at least. It will be uploaded on the 23rd, so the day I'm recording it. And there are some interesting signals that the models are trying to show to us. Not only a major pattern change or an Arctic blast, some very cold conditions for October next week, but a potential for maybe not one, but 2 snowstorms next week. Now, this is still very far out. I mean, it's a week, but the European model has been so consistent with showing one storm across the Midwest. Now, it started showing a second one now, but I have less confidence on the second one rather than the first one. The first one, the GFS is starting to pick up on it. And, the European was the original shower of it, and now the GFS is kind of like, oh, well, maybe it's up to something. I'll kind of, they obviously don't look at other models, but the GFS is kind of, if it was a person, it would be like, maybe the European is onto something, and that's what it seems like to be, that's what seems to be happening. So consider subscribing to this channel, guys. Consider liking this video. I really appreciate when you guys all just give me all this love and support and feedback. I really am grateful and blessed. So thank you so much for all your benevolent wishes. And let's just move on with our forecast. So right now we are looking at the GFS. Let's go back to hour 6 and start from the beginning. Let's commence this forecast, and notice how we see a very a trough. It's not too strong, not too weak though. At the bottom of it, at the base of the trough, if you will, there is a storm. There's a little storm system. It's kind of like a little wave of energy, kind of like a push. Got a little bit of Gulf of Mexico air in it. It might drop some snow for northern Texas, and at this point, it seems quite a bit may fall. The confidence earlier was a little bit lower. Now I actually didn't, even make a really updated video on this, but if you go to the National Weather Service, yeah, you could see they have winter storm watches or winter weather advisories at the very least, and I'm pretty sure there's gonna probably be some snow showers, some snow accumulation for these areas. You could see less than 1 inch, maybe an inch. The thing is that, that's still very heavy snow, even for this time of the year, especially at that region. So, stay prepared for that. That's basically the only big snow in the next couple of days, hours. Then we see a little system starts making its way up, and this is Saturday, Sunday now. You could see, it, again, drops heavy snow across Colorado, Wyoming, so the mountains have been just getting absolutely slammed by snow. But then, look, this is what the GFS shows. The European shows a big storm happening out of this. Right now, it shows Sunday, October 27th, around that time frame. This weekend, so not that far away. I mean, yes, it's Sunday, or the 27th, but it's already Wednesday, almost over with Wednesday. And the models have been, the European has just a firm fist. It's just, I don't know how to demonstrate this. It's just grabbing onto that snowstorm, the idea of that snowstorm, and it is not even close to letting go. It's not fatigued. It's just stronger than ever, showing that storm. And the GFS is not doing that. The GFS is kind of starting to show that second system. Notice how it develops right over here across a good portion of James Bay and into Michigan, and maybe some snow into Illinois and Indiana, which would be interesting. But it also shows this insane Arctic blast. I mean, this thing would be cold. The temperature anomalies with this would be absolutely, one of the coldest Halloweens possibly with this. This would just be a ridiculously cold air mass. Let's go to the 2-meter temperature anomalies. I mean, look at those anomalies right there. Very chilly. If you go to the 2-meter temperature shaded, now they won't be obviously -20, but they will be in the 20s. And look at that nighttime low getting frost and freezes down as far south as Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. Now, sorry about that, I had to sneeze. Now, you may be wondering, or you may be kind of, yelling at the screen, this is just one model. It's the GFS, the Global Forecasting System. It's literally biased all the time. Well, that definitely has some truth to it. It always is a little bit crazy, and either way, really showing extreme heat and extreme cold. But the European model, usually the favorite of the two, is even showing, the equal amount of cold, maybe a little bit less. I'll give that to you, but it's showing a way more snowier scenario than what the GFS is showing. So there, I have you right there. You cannot just blame that on the GFS's craziness. And you could see some snow again. Look at that impressive snow across Colorado into Amarillo, Texas. A little bit maybe north of that, the heaviest band, but overall, 1 to 3 inches across that area. Colorado foothills probably around 10 to 15 inches. And notice how this the European at around the time of when the GFS kind of shows that little system. Let me show you this. Let's go back to the MSLP and Frozen. Right here is where the two models split significantly. Right here, the GFS is just showing snow for these areas. If you were to look at the snowfall graphic, this is now Sunday, October 27th, and Monday. You can see that this now is showing snow for these areas as well, what the GFS is, but then it blows up a system across the Midwest right there. I'll show you the precipitation type in just a minute, but look, those snowfall amounts are crazy heavy. That's, now they're showing more broad area, maybe a little bit less, but still a good area of 6 to 12 inches. Probably, this would be definitely a winter storm named by the Weather Channel if you're wondering. And then look, it shows another system right here across the Midwest, across Illinois, Chicago. So if you live in the Chicago area, the European, which is, just letting you know, very accurate. It's a medium model range, so whatever it does show is usually not as crazy, but more realistic as what the GFS is showing. And look, it's showing snow, so definitely be prepared that snow in the next half a month to month is gonna happen widespread across the country as this pattern seems to be continuing. So look, this is where the European really starts showing the system developing. Not much really going on right here. It's in the Colorado foothills. It starts developing in Colorado, so it's a Colorado low, and then just erupts. I mean, you can see the precip starts rising up, the low pressure. Let's see if I can go just to the United States, because I wanted to have a little zoomed in image of this. I apologize if the computer takes a little bit to load, but okay, so here we are going to expect some snow across. You can see that Amarillo, Texas, northern Texas, the Colorado foothills, but then it moves up to the north, a little bit of rain for the northeast, actually quite a bit of rain, a good dose of rain, so that's good news. But then this is where things really start splitting. Still shows that little feature what the GFS is showing, very similar, but now you can see that it starts developing really quickly across the plains. So what this is basically doing, this low, it's just sitting there across Colorado, dumping probably feet at this point, if this were to come true, feet of snow, and lows all spin counterclockwise, so, has a wind field like something like that, and the lighter winds, go even further out of its reach, and you can see that this low would be dominating this pattern at this point. Notice how a lot of this precipitation would be going this way. That's because of the winds pushing it that way, but it also brings up quite a bit of precip. It gets that lift in the atmosphere for the Gulf of Mexico moisture, which is just still waiting there. I mean, it's October, late October, but the Gulf of Mexico, or the tropics in the Gulf of Mexico, are just waiting for something to lift it up, and this storm does exactly that. Look at it. I mean, within 12 hours, it's just a beast. Already dumping snow across Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, and look at that. I mean, this just intensifies to ridiculous levels. Probably bombing out right around right there, and then starts weakening a little bit, but then notice how it leaves a bunch of cold air behind it, and it starts snowing across potentially Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and that could just be a honking beast. Look at that thing. That is huge if this were to actually form the second one. So 2 possible winter storms next week. I'm not saying that they exactly will happen. If I was a betting man, like I said yesterday, if I was a betting man and I was in Vegas and I was to bet on that first snowstorm that went in the upper Midwest or through Iowa, Nebraska, and Minnesota, I would give it a 70% chance of actually developing, which, just for your wondering, is high. And for the second system across Chicago and with the snow in Indiana, I would, I would just say 35 at this point, because I think that's the newest model run. That's when just showing it. But the other storm has been just consistently showing up in the model range data, and it's just been ridiculous. So, again, I could show you the snowfall amounts. Now let's go to total snowfall, which is right here, and I just want to show you this. I mean, look, impressive amounts. You know, not anything record-breaking or historic, but, I mean, in a sense that it's early November, it could be historic, but by the snowfall amounts themselves, they don't seem too ridiculously high. I mean, they're definitely going to be high up to a foot, but that's not unheard of. Let's zoom in into a specific region of the United States so we can get a closer look at those snowfall totals, and let's go to the Great Lakes, for example, and let's see some of these snowfall totals. And notice how, if this were to form, there would be a widespread 3 to 4 to 5 inches of snow, especially across Michigan and Illinois and Missouri and Indiana. I mean, this would just be historic in a sense that it's so early. You know, I mean, very, very significant by by all means. And notice how, if you were to go now, instead of the Great Lakes, let's go to the mighty Midwest, the Corn Belt. This is what the website calls it, and rightly so. Notice how the mounts are greater with this system, up to 11-12 inches. And again, you know, some of you may be wondering, why are you showing us the snowfall mounts if this may not even happen? Well, again, I give 35% chance of this happening, but I have 75 to 80% chance of this beast happening. And I think some sort of system will occur, whether it's going to be a combination of them two or just one by itself. I think some storm system next week is definitely bound to occur at around this time frame, so exactly a week from today. And things are looking very interesting. 12 to possibly 15 inches of snow in that area right southeast of Minneapolis. But you know, this would just be very, very historic and record breaking in terms of the earliness of the system. So there's a lot to keep you guys updated on in the next week, so stay tuned to this channel. Consider subscribing to this channel. Consider liking this video. In case you're wondering, 8 to 14 day outlook through November 6th. Look at all that cold. Look at all that cold. Very, very, very chilly, or very below average. 6 to 10 day outlook, I think, is even more below average. Yep, you could see 90% more in being below average, while Alaska just bakes in the heat, because that's where the ridge and this is where the trough is. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See y'all. Bye.